There we go. Here we go. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm saying to Sally, are we on? Are we on? I think we're on. Okay, good morning. I'm Ceri and I'm here in the House of Light kitchen, ready to, well, I was going to say cook up a storm, but it's going to mainly be raw food today. There is one cooked element to it, just as an option, but I'm going to be creating a mainly raw vegan Buddha bowl. So just while we're waiting to see if anybody joins, I'm going to just explain to you what a Buddha bowl is if you've never made one or had the pleasure of eating one. It's basically a bowl full of your favourite stuff. There's no rules, there's nothing that you can't put in. There's not really any kind of flavours that clash in my experience. It's a generally very fresh ingredients. You're just relying on the wonderful flavours of lots of fresh, raw fruit and veg. You can always add in elements, cooked elements, as many cooked elements as you want. For example, today I'm using raw cauliflower, blitzed up into like a cauliflower rice, but you can always exchange that for any grains that you like. You can put in quinoa, millet, rice, brown rice, pearl barley, whatever you fancy basically. It makes it a little bit more substantial. So the option that we're going for today with the raw food is it's high vibrational food, it's high energy food, but it's light. So you'll still have lots of energy to move around and get on with your day afterwards. If you want something a little bit more substantial, maybe you're going to be eating it more towards the evening or even through the winter. This is more of a spring summer option, but if you want something hot in there, then you can put grains in there. So before I go on and talk any more about this, just to remind you that if you're joining, then please feel free to join in to ask questions, anything that you're not clear about. I'm going to try and give you as many other options as well for the Buddha bowl as I can, but if again you want to ask anything about that, then fire away. So yeah, basically at this time of year, I don't know what the weather's like with you, but with us, we're just moving into springtime. We're starting to get some slightly warmer days, the flowers are all bursting into colour, and for me this signifies the perfect time to, I'm just going to go and stir something for 1 minute, perfect time to do a spring clean on all levels. So I'm a bit of a cleaning freak, so literally physically in the house I do spring clean, but also in terms of detox, doing juice fasts. Again, I don't personally fancy doing those in the winter when it's cold. I need that kind of comfort food and that warmth. But as the weather starts to warm up, I start to think, okay, I could do juice fast, or I can start bringing a lot more elements of raw food into my diet. So I'm not a strict raw foodist by any stretch of the imagination, but I love to experiment with food. I'm also not strictly vegan, but I like to bring in aspects of vegan and raw food into my diet, because as a chef, it kind of makes me be more creative. When you're working with ingredients that are slightly more unfamiliar, or you're a bit worried that something might be bland, you've got to get more creative with the flavours. So I like that aspect. And also the main health benefits of eating raw food. It's said to create better skin, to give you more energy, and can be really helpful with any digestive problems. So you're basically maintaining all of the nutrients and the enzymes and the goodness within the food that may be lost through cooking. So it's a really alive way of eating. And also, as I mentioned before, you don't get that heavy, full feeling afterwards. You get the energy, but you don't get the kind of sluggishness that can come with large quantities of cooked food. So today we will be using, as I said, the cauliflower rice, which is basically raw cauliflower put into a food processor and just pulsed a little bit until it goes into a grainy texture like the texture of rice. You can either leave that as it is. I'm going to be mixing in a vegan pesto into that. For my Buddha bowls, what I like to do is have some really punchy flavours. So there's some things that I do nothing to. Sometimes the salad aspect of it, or sprouts, that I just let them shine for themselves. And then there's other aspects like sauces or dressings that really give a bit of zing to the bowl and add some flavour. The one cooked element today is going to be a really yummy baked tofu with a sticky garlicky sauce. So obviously if you're strict raw, then leave that one out. There are other options which I'll cover in a different video. But today there's going to be one cooked element. So to start, I was just going to introduce one of the sauces. Is going to be, or is already, a beetroot dip or sauce. So this is just all the ingredients put into a high-powered blender or a bullet and whizzed up together. So in there is raw beetroot, olive oil, tahini, garlic, a little bit of za'atar, a Middle Eastern spice, juice of a whole lemon, and salt and pepper. And it's just into the food processor or the blender and whizzed up. So that's a really tasty, zingy, full of flavour raw dip. So the other dip that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make over here just so you can see how easy it is. It is literally sling all the ingredients in together and blitz it. So the second dressing that I'm going to make is a carrot and ginger dressing. So we have... If you're starting to think I'm flying through all the ingredients really quickly as well, then don't panic, because they'll all be recapped. They'll be written out and posted on the House of Light Facebook page if you want to go and get the recipes. So in the blender already, I've got 2 large carrots peeled and chopped up. I'm going to add 1/3 cup of organic, beautiful organic from our land olive oil. So lucky to have this, and equal amounts, so another 1/3 cup. So when I refer to the cups, just if you're not used to cooking like this, if you're used to cooking with measuring things out in grams, it is the American version of measuring. So you can buy little sets of cups, a quarter, a third, a half, an eighth, and yeah, it makes cooking super simple actually, because you just... The recipe generally converts it, whether it be a powder or a liquid, and you just have to fill the amount into the cup. So I'm adding now 1/3 cup of rice vinegar in there. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of lime juice. Squeezing those in. And again, equal amount, 2 tablespoons roughly of fresh ginger. So I do tend to, even though it's going to go in the blender, I do chop it up into small pieces. The more fibrous, tougher elements of the sauce, I chop a little bit smaller just to make sure that the blender can manage with it and can blend it into a smooth sauce. Then organic toasted sesame oil. Let me check. So 1.5 teaspoons of the sesame oil, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, in that goes, and 1 tablespoon of honey. So if you have the option to buy honey that's local and possibly raw and organic, I much prefer to use that. Just knowing where your food is coming from, for me, feels so much better. You know that you're supporting your local community, and you know that if it's organic, then they're actually looking after the bees. Super important. Let me just put this on one side. So that's all those ingredients into the blender. And I'm just going to blitz it all up. Fantastic. So we've got our beetroot, garlic, tahini and za'atar sauce. And we've also got more of a consistency of a dressing, the carrot and ginger dressing. And so now the other components that I've chosen for today, but as I say, it's literally just all of your favorite things. So whatever your taste is, you can just sling it in there. So I'm going to start with a base of, let me add a little bit of pesto to our raw cauliflower rice. For a small bowl like this, I'm just putting in about a tablespoon. Mix that around. And I'm just going to fill half of the base of my bowl with this. The other half of the base, I'm going to use a massaged kale salad. So this is raw kale, chopped up. So normally kale might be a little bit fibrous and a bit difficult to digest when it's raw. We generally put it through smoothies and juices. So the idea with this is that it's so simple, but you just drizzle in a little bit of olive oil and a sprinkling of salt, and you literally massage it with your hands. And the salt works to break down the fibre in the kale. So it becomes a lot more digestible and easy to eat. I also like to add at the last minute, just to cut through like the creaminess of the oil and the salt, just a squeeze of lemon juice, just to lift it and add a little zing. So I'll be placing this on the other side of the bowl. As I say, if I was doing a cooked version, I would probably now be doing half with grains and half with steamed greens of your choice. So broccoli or pak choy or cabbage, whatever you would like. So we've already got this looking beautiful and colourful already. So into there, I've now got a bowl with some avocado, some cherry tomatoes and some raw red pepper. So it can be quite a nice artistic, creative thing as well, because you're working with all these vibrant colours. You're literally kind of building a work of art for the eyes as well before you get to enjoy it with your taste buds. So creating little pockets of colour. I've also got here some sprouted alfalfa. So I'll now add some. These are really good, if you are into it as a piece of work of art, to build some height. You can it becomes quite sculptural with the shoots and the seeds. I've also got some sprouted mung beans. I'll add in there. All fantastic sources of protein and fibre as well, if you are on a vegan diet, to make sure that you're getting all the nutrients you need. Fresh from the garden, I've got some small rocket leaves here. I'm just going to sprinkle around the outside. I've also got a different form of kale here. These are kale crisps. So these were made simply by stripping the fibrous stalks out of the leaves and then rub on a little bit of oil. I'm using olive oil again and salt. And then you can add any flavours you like. I put in some chili oil into this, so they're quite spicy. You can also sprinkle on paprika or cumin, any flavour that you would like. So these are crispy little kale crisps. Again, you can build height with. I've got in this bowl some tamari seeds. So you might be kind of thinking that this is a lot of faff for one bowl of food, but I find that if you want to start eating in this way, a lot of these elements you can prepare and you can have big jars of them. So I always have a batch of these tamari seeds, which which is simply any seeds that you like, put into a dry frying pan and toast them. So put a high heat underneath, toast the seeds, and then when they're just turning brown and starting to crackle, you put on a splash of soy sauce and it evaporates really quickly and coats all the seeds. So you end up with these delicious toasted, salty, tamari flavoured seeds. So I always have a big jar of these in my cupboard. So any salads, any grains, anything you want to add a bit of bite to and a bit of flavour. All of the sauces that I'm making, you can make larger jars of them and keep them in the fridge for a week, 10 days. The sprouts, it's just something that I just have in my routine. It might feel like a bit of a faff to do, but it's simply put them in a bowl and soak them overnight. You don't have to do anything more than that. And then once you've got your little sprouting boxes, just have them somewhere that you look at every morning. So I have them on the windowsill in front of the sink. Just make sure you sprinkle them with a bit of water. And then again, you have this constant stream of any different sprouts that you want. The mung beans, chickpeas, alfalfa, anything that takes your fancy. Same with the kale crisps. I have a big jar of these. I do a big batch all in one go. So once you have all of these dips and seeds and crisps and things kind of ready to go, then you can just fling a bowl of food like this together really easily and quickly. So I'm going to sprinkle the tamari seeds on. What else do we have? Okay, so the sauces now. I'm just going to put a nice big dollop of this really punchy beetroot dip on one side, this amazing bright pink colour. And then the zingy ginger carrot dip can go around the other side. Oh, honestly, it's just like, it's almost as good looking at it as it is eating it. It's just such amazing colours. This food is so alive. You can just feel it just by looking at it. So if you want to keep it raw, I've just got flowers from the garden as well. I've got some beautiful borage flowers, some pansies, some calendula. So you can really go to town with the visuals on these Buddha bowls. Well, with any food really, but it's particularly good. I'm just going to sprinkle the calendula petals around. Some rocket flowers. Beautiful little pansies on there. Yeah, sure. So we're starting to get a really wonderful rainbow coloured array of food in that bowl. I've also got, I just went to town today because I'm obviously doing it for you guys, so just put everything in there. Some soaked goji berries, so just adding that aspect of sweetness. Sprinkle those around. So if you want to stick to a raw Buddha bowl, you can stop there, and that is already packed with flavour, really, really incredible flavours. If you want to add something just a little bit more substantial and add a cooked element, I've taken some tofu chunks and squeezed them, so squeeze all the liquid out of them, wrap them in kitchen roll and put a chopping board on top and something heavy on top of that and squeeze, leave them for about 15 minutes to squeeze all the water out. Then coat them in a little bit of corn flour, salt, pepper and garlic powder and put them into a really hot oven, about 200 degrees, and bake them until they go crispy. It's about 15 minutes, take them out, turn them around in another 15 minutes, but you can get these details on the Facebook page. So you've got the crispy tofu, and then I've made a sticky, garlicky, it's got maple syrup in there, soy sauce, lots of garlic, a little bit of chili, some corn flour to thicken it. Made this really sticky, garlicky sauce that I'm now going to coat the tofu pieces in, and that's going to be just the final pieces to go on top. So it really is quite addictive once you get into it, because you can't go wrong. As I say, whatever flavours you want to throw in there, do it. And experimenting with raw ones, with cooked elements, it's different every time. And as I say, once you get used to some of your favourite sauces or dips or what else is really nice is little sun-dried cherry tomatoes, so small little explosions of flavour that happen in your mouth. So So we're nearly done, and I'm just going to come and show you one more time what the final dish looks like. So there we have the almost raw vegan Buddha bowl. Okay, so I'm just going to check in with lovely Sally over there to see if anybody's joined or if there's any questions or...
We have people joining, but I would love to know more about why the sprouts are nutritional. What's so special about sprouts?
There is just a real aliveness about sprouts. It's the first part of life coming out of the seed. So they are just packed with energy. And they're also things that you can, they're very small, so you can have a little jar of sprouts in your bag or something. And so if you need a little energy kick, they're a fantastic thing to just have a little snack on. But yeah, I love using sprouts. It just literally feels like you're kind of eating life. It's just, they're so fresh and alive. So yeah, yeah. So as I say, if you want to have more details about the recipes, they will be on the House of Light Facebook page. I might also be doing some blogs just to follow this up with other ideas for sauces, for bases, for different aspects of cooked and raw Buddha bowls. And I think if there's no more questions, then thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully you'll go off and make one of these delicious bowls today. So enjoy your food, and I will see you soon.